Welcome back to another episode of Light Beer, Dark Money. I'm Sean Noble.
And I'm Chris Clements.
And we have our swag.
Yeah.
Thanks to Chris.
Little swag. I won't say compliments of Noggin Boss.
I wouldn't say little.
No, they're not little. So this is from a company that is incubating down at Grand Canyon University with our friends at Canyon Ventures and our friend Robert Bear, who's the executive director over there. And this is called the Noggin Boss, which is an oversized hat, complete with like a foam insert. And they are, any sporting event you tune into on television, you're going to see people with these hats on.
Yeah.
And so I thought it'd be a great idea to see if our logo translated well on a big old hat.
And I ordered some. And
here we go.
Seems to have done that. Look at that.
And it's our first.
If you are not watching the video, find a way to watch the video so you can see
it is
these
a
hats.
big brimmed hat with our great logo on it.
Yeah. Well,
So,
thanks for doing that, Chris.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to have mugs too, and hats, T-shirts.
Whatever.
We're going all in.
Going all in on the
in
swag.
2024.
Maybe we'll set up a store.
You know, we should probably have an online store.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, everyone.
Hats, T-shirts, pens.
You name it.
You know, that's, I mean, in the industry I used to come from, that was the name of the game.
Yeah, that's right.
You walk into a bar, do you have any swag for me? Got a hat? You know how far a Budweiser hat went with like just some guy at a bar?
Yeah, I mean, people love their free stuff. I mean, just all you have to do is look at how crazy people get when you're at the baseball game and they're throwing out the T-shirts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just
it's
a hat.
Insane.
You give a guy a hat and he was like your buddy for life. He drank your beer forever. It was amazing.
Well,
so maybe we give out some
drank your beer until Dylan Mulvaney came along.
Yeah, well, that is true. That is true.
So
but when Bud Light became a verb.
Yeah, we are 4 days beyond the Iowa caucus.
Was there an Iowa caucus?
There was an Iowa caucus.
Was there an election? Didn't seem like it.
Was there any surprise? Well,
no,
there was not. We had been talking about how Trump was going to win handily. The real issue is who was going to be in second, and DeSantis, pulled that off.
Did he? Because
barely.
according to Nikki Haley, it's a two-person race.
Yeah, Nikki did better than I think some people expected. I mean, she came within 2 points of first
and Vivek came in third at 7%.
Fourth. Yes, he's got Trump.
Oh, yeah, fourth. What am I saying?
And
sorry.
So the best news that came out of Iowa was Vivek dropping out.
And we're kind of in a minority on this. Like, people like that guy.
No, we're not in the minority.
People really like Vivek.
You are getting sucked into the Twitter, the X trash bin.
I'm not getting sucked into the trash bin, but you've got a lot of people defending him as like, oh, he was so great. He has all these great ideas, and I'm reading some of this. I'm not agreeing with it, but I'm reading something like he was just a Trump fill-in, which we've talked about.
Exactly. I mean,
he didn't really have any of his own ideas. His ideas changed every debate that he was in.
Yeah.
And he kind of just
I think he was road testing all kinds of crap and throwing it out there. And
he was auditioning for a cabinet post.
What's crazy is that he was Trump's best friend. I mean, called Trump the greatest president of the 21st century. Mm-hmm. Not that much of a compliment, really, if you think about it. I think he's a smart guy. Surprising, he didn't say history. He didn't say modern history. He said 21st century.
21st century.
Anyway, so
which was comparatively speaking, as far as who we've had so far, okay.
Yeah, I mean, so he spent months kissing Trump's ass. Then, like the last 24 hours before the caucus, you start seeing, vote Vivek to save Trump. Because it's a big conspiracy. There's no way they're ever going to let Trump get there. They're going to airdrop Nikki Haley in, or whatever the case may be. I'm the only one who can stop that from happening. He gets 7 points, whatever percent, drops out, and immediately endorses the guy who says they're never going to let be president. I mean, the whole freaking thing was built on a lie.
Well, and then what he says is like, well, there's not really a path for us going forward. There was never a path for you in the beginning. You didn't build an organization. You weren't really running for president. You were running as a stand-in for Trump. I believe.
Right.
And eventually to be,
Well,
if
and-
Trump were to win, part of their administration, which would be great. I would be in completely support of that.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No, I don't believe. I think the guy's a complete fraud. There have been people said, "Oh, well, he went from nothing to 7 point whatever percent." I guarantee you, you take anybody who wants to throw red meat out onto the table and spend, what did he spend? 30, 40, 50 million of his own money?
He spent a lot of money.
Spend a lot of money, get on the debate. Yeah, you can get 7%. That's not that impressive in Iowa. That means he got he got less than 8,000 votes. How many doors did he knock on? How many?
I don't think he did anything in Iowa.
No, he did.
It was all about being part of the debates.
But he went. He had more events in Iowa than all the other candidates combined. I think. I think it was like 300 and something events. It was a huge number. That's all he did, and he got 7%. I could get 7% if I did that.
Could you?
If I had $50 million and spent 8 months walking around Iowa.
Well, you wouldn't spend it on
probably,
television like he did.
Well, probably not. That was a waste.
You'd be a little bit more targeted.
Yeah.
A little bit smarter.
It does.
You would have a dark money operation unlike anyone has ever seen ever in the history of Iowa.
Maybe
It would be unbelievable.
But there's a lot of things that when you look at Iowa, you start to think, okay, this was baked, right? Trump had never not had a lead in Iowa.
And yet DeSantis staked his entire
campaign
candidacy
on
Iowa, which I know some people in that we know some people who were part of that campaign early on, and they vocally said to him that's a mistake.
Clearly, because he spent a truckload of money and
visited 99 counties.
He had a huge ground operation funded by the super PAC, and he ended up with 2 points better. 2 points better than Nikki Haley, who barely had anything. Now, I will say that the AFP, Americans for Prosperity endorsement, did give her access to a ground game that clearly was it almost as good as DeSantis's.
Yeah.
If not better, because they had less time. My point is that we probably need to rethink whether I don't know. I'm torn about the presidential schedule. The Democrats upended it. They dismissed Iowa. They're dismissing New Hampshire. Now these are mostly because these are not good places for Joe Biden. They're starting in South Carolina.
Where is a good place for Joe Biden?
Well, he'll win South Carolina. It will be interesting to see.
In bed with his pajamas on, maybe getting up around 9.
If that.
Maybe having an event in the afternoon.
It's got to be back. Got to be done by 5.
It got to be done by 5. No night events.
Trump winning Iowa by a huge 30 points. He's the nominee. We've been saying this. There is no stopping him. There's a slight chance that Nikki Haley might upset him in New Hampshire, but then he's going to just romp in South Carolina and every state in Super Tuesday. I don't. I don't understand why DeSantis is even in this race still.
Yeah, let me ask you that. So, how do you see New Hampshire? Because a lot of people are starting to think that Nikki Haley can upset him. But what does that do for her?
Nothing.
What does that do for her overall? A whole lot of nothing?
I think it does nothing. I think it would give her the chance to say, okay, this is truly now a 2-person race. DeSantis is done. But she's going to get smoked in her home state, which is the next one. Well,
I heard a polling today that he's up by double digits, like 30%.
I think he's up 20 or 30%. Yeah. It could look like Iowa.
And then Nevada's just sort of an also ran. He's going to run away with that.
Yeah, Nevada, I don't even think she's participating.
She hasn't,
that whole caucus
and Super Tuesday is the SEC, tournament.
Yeah, it's so... I don't see a path for her. There will be a lot of discussion about whether she's the alternative. And she is the alternative to Trump. I get it. Republican primary voters are just not interested in that right now,
Yeah.
as evidenced by the fact that now if he'd gotten 40% in Iowa, this could be a different question.
No, he got over 50.
But he got over 50.
That was a big thing.
He's going to get 40 plus in New Hampshire, and then he probably breaks 50 in South Carolina. And, at that point, if he gets above 50 in South Carolina, this is done.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's already done, but it will be like, I think the chattering class will kind of come to the conclusion that, okay, this is done.
So to go back to another point that you had about how we invest so much time and money in these two states that are not really reflective of the rest of the country.
Right.
Ben Domenech, our friend from D.C. and Fox News, he made this very point. It's like, why are we placing so much on Iowa, a state of 3 million people that demographically doesn't look like the rest of the country for the most part, and we think that this, if only we could win Iowa, then it's going to launch, 1,000 ships and launch you into the presidency, where that hasn't been the case for many, many years.
Well,
This is probably the only time in many years where a candidate like Trump has been so dominant, so out front, that nobody can touch him.
So just
Because Ted Cruz won last time.
yeah, let me give you a little history, because this is the thing that kind of drives me crazy about Twitter, is that you have all these people who pretend to be political activists, prognosticators, who don't have a memory beyond, any earlier than 2020 or 2016. Okay. So Iowa, the last time that the Republican candidate who won Iowa became president was George W. Bush. Iowa has denied who the actual nominee every time since then. And so this is the first time Trump winning Iowa. He will become the nominee. That'll be the first time that happens since 2000. And it's the largest win.
Which for a lot of people is a long time ago. For us, it's not that long ago.
I know. This is the largest win in Iowa, which shatters the previous record, which was when Bob Dole won Iowa by 13 points over George H.W. Bush in 1988. But Dole did not get the nomination.
Yeah.
It went to Bush. I mean, Iowa is not necessarily the place where you make a president.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, I think basically Trump is being, I think most voters are basically looking at this as, well, he's the incumbent. And so his numbers indicate that. I mean, it's
well, and there's some
basically
polling that
incumbency.
came out of Iowa that 70 to 80% of the Republican electorate there believes that he won the last election.
Yeah. Yeah,
Did you see that polling?
I did.
That he is the rightful president.
Yeah.
But you can go back to polling even after 2016 about Hillary.
Yeah. I
So
mean, the
it's-
Democrats all thought that Hillary was the right
70% or 80% of Democrats still believe that Hillary Clinton won the 2016 election.
Yeah.
So this psyche in our politic is something that
Yeah, the stolen election mantra.
back then it was the Russians.
That's a bipartisan mantra.
Yeah, yes. Back then it was the Russians. Now it's the deep state.
So speaking of stolen elections, so now it just so happens, we have been saying this for months on this podcast, that Michelle Obama is going to be the Democrat nominee.
The big mo.
It is the chatter on this is getting pretty active.
Yeah.
So
So do you hear that she's been added to the odds in Vegas?
oh, is that right?
Yeah. This week she was added to the odds in Vegas. She has better odds than Gavin Newsom, and the Governor Pritzker of Illinois.
Yeah.
Of becoming the next president.
Well, I would be shocked. At this point, I would be shocked if they don't do it.
Well, gosh, we're becoming like broken records. Have you seen the videos of Joe Biden this week?
It's pretty rough.
It is not good.
It's not good.
I mean, it is really, really sad.
At this point, I actually
Like I can't watch it
because the convention is not until August.
Oh my gosh!
And so-
what is Joe Biden going to look like in August?
Well, that's the thing is that
Is he going to be in a wheelchair?
The thing that
Is
could be interesting is what makes this really kind of work seamlessly is getting to the convention. Having Biden win all the delegates, getting to the convention. The superdelegates say, "Oh, you know what? This isn't going to work."
Which is
Biden.
explain the superdelegates, because that is a Democratic creation. We don't have it in our party.
Well, the Democratic
And
Party, which claims
and
to
it's
be the party
how-
of the little guy.
yeah, and it's how Hillary.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
Barack
superdelegates.
have
There's a
survived.
certain number of superdelegates, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's about 1,000. But basically, if you take the superdelegates,
They're the king and queen makers.
yeah, they combine the superdelegates have way more influence over what happens than the regular delegates.
Yeah.
And superdelegates are like members of Congress, governors, all the elite, right? This party of the people.
They're all the
are
Democrats
all
over at
controlled
the
by
World Economic Forum right
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
John Kerry,
Right. So
Barack
So-
Obama.
the seamless
Former
way for this
presidents.
to happen is for things to kind of really unravel late July, early August, going into the convention, and everyone says, "Oh, well, we've got to fix this. Joe's not up to it, so let's broker the convention. The superdelegates remove Joe and add Michelle."
Yeah, that's
But
you
this
made a
gets,
key point. They broker the convention. Now, what does that mean?
Well, it basically means that we're going to release delegates from Joe Biden, state by state, and then have
and then do what they used to do,
Right.
which is propose a candidate.
But what
at
they'll
convention.
do is that what I suspect that they'll do to keep it as unified and as clean as possible is that they will unwind all the delegates from Biden and then do a unanimous voice vote for Queen Michelle.
The big mom.
All of those in favor say aye, and the crowd will cheer, and Michelle will get the coronation. And you know what?
And be Hope Part 2.
And if she gets the coronation, she's going to be the next
She's
president
going
of
to
the
win,
United States.
and she is worse than Joe
She
Biden.
will be the next president of the United States.
Yeah.
And I'm in some ways I've resigned myself that is the outcome. That it is predestined. That it's going to happen.
Well, that's what they're telegraphing. I mean, in on his podcast, Verdict with Ted Cruz, he puts it as 60-40 at this point. It was 50-50, and then he endorsed Donald Trump yesterday, whatever, and then he's like, but this is happening. This is and more people
So he's
are
getting
talking
close to
about
where
it.
we are. Because
You're
in
all
my
in.
mind, it's 100%, baby.
You're all in.
I mean,
Yeah,
look,
if that's the option, I don't see how the Democrats do anything else, because they're not gonna.
Why would they risk
They're not gonna
anything
pivot
else?
to Kamala. Obviously,
they can't.
she's got lower poll numbers than Joe, and she's just a world's
And the
a walking word
only
salad.
way that you can legitimately leapfrog Camilla
Is it
Kamala, sorry.
in a brokered
So,
convention, really?
Right. Well, it is to put Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Because she is way more popular. She's got more gravitas. And even
she's a best-selling author.
Even Kamala would be like,
And she's
can't compete with
and
that.
she's got the balls to do it.
I mean,
Did I just say that?
yeah, whatever. Oh my gosh. But she's strong, and so she would be. I just don't see how she's beatable in the general.
Yeah. Well, no, I think you're right, and we might be looking at a general election between Trump behind bars and then Michelle Obama upon ascendancy.
Look, if Trump's convicted, I have said that against Biden, Trump could be convicted and probably win. If he's not convicted, he'll win. He'll beat Joe Biden, which is why they're going to replace with Biden, because they can't afford to lose to
Well,
Trump.
and most of those cases are going to be pushed and pushed
Yeah.
and pushed, and now a lot of them are falling apart, like the one in Georgia.
Yeah, I mean,
Can you believe
many
that?
of these are garbage.
I mean, we're digressing. Can you believe
Yes,
that? You can believe
Well,
that.
of course. Corrupt DA? Shocking. Shocking.
Sleeping with her associate while he's going through a divorce.
Oh, I didn't realize
Oh,
that.
yeah. This is how this all came about.
Oh, jeez.
So one of the people that she was prosecuting was on Trump's team, sued and subpoenaed his divorce records, or they were public for a second before they were sealed. And it showed like all these dalliances between Fanny and her boy,
Interesting.
her boy toy.
Yeah.
And they were going to Disneyland and they were going to Jamaica and all
I
this
mean,
stuff.
Well, I mean,
On the taxpayer
don't-
dime.
Well,
And
really on the taxpayer dime?
you think? She was paying him.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
She
So
was paying him,
he was-
and then he was turning around and they were going
they
on
were
trips
big
and stuff. together.
Yeah. That doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So
That's a no-no. Are you not supposed to do that?
you're probably not supposed to do that.
Yeah, maybe.
So we're headed to New Hampshire. By the time when we are back together again next week,
Yeah.
we will have results from New Hampshire, and either this
And a
is
lot
going to
of
be
rhetoric.
either this is going to be Nikki winning and it's going to draw it out a little bit, or she doesn't win, and I think.
Well, make no mistake. Between now and Tuesday, the establishment, never Trumpers, Democrats, everyone is going to put all they can into Nikki to sway that vote and to create a narrative coming out of New Hampshire. We'll see what that narrative looks like.
I mean, yeah, they will, but again, it's not going to change the trajectory
Yeah.
in the long term of Trump becoming the nominee. And
Well,
I
I think what they're trying to bet on, and I heard this the other day, and I have to think about it more, is that if Trump is behind bars or is indicted, that the heir apparent, if he's unable to run for whatever reason that happens between now and August, that Nikki's the anointed one amongst. I mean, we don't have super delegates, and we don't have that process.
there's not a chance in the world that if we end up in a situation where the convention has to do a nomination pick outside of Trump, that it's Nikki Haley.
Yeah.
Not a chance in the world.
That's what I think. But other people,
They are
differently.
smoking crack.
Yeah.
The delegates to the RNC are not going to. I mean, look at. There's so much buzz about the vice presidential pick, and you have Donald Trump Jr. basically publicly saying he cannot pick Nikki Haley as the vice president. There will be open revolt.
No. Yeah.
So if she can't even be Trump's vice presidential pick, how in the world is she going to get the support to be the nominee at a brokered convention?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. These people are, it's amazing to me. You just have to, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a cynic.
Well, I think
I'm usually optimistic, but man.
It is the election of doom. I mean, because we don't even, there's some things that are going to happen this year we haven't even thought of.
Oh, that's for sure.
So that's what I'm calling 2024. The election,
The
of
election of
doom.
Yeah, that's. All right.
But to your point, and which was a great podcast 2 weeks ago, our republic endures.
Yep, it'll endure.
It'll endure regardless of what Trump and Biden and
Even if Michelle
and the
Obama
Obamas
becomes-
do to it.
If she becomes president,
Because we have enough checks and balances, and the pendulum swings one way and it swings the other.
yep,
And those corrections are hard and needed,
yeah, and sometimes painful.
and sometimes painful.
Yeah. All right.
And with that,
We'll
thanks
be
for
back.
listening. We'll see you
Watch
next
New
week.
Hampshire.
God bless.
All right. See ya.